Rebecca Murphy, and I'm here to talk to you for just a few minutes before you get a break, so I'm going to try and be punctual. Like Nivi said, I am the field CTO at Swarmia, Stripe and Indeed, et cetera, et cetera. I also have a podcast, and you have copies on the tables of the book that I wrote with our co-founder, Otto, about leading effective engineering organizations. So as the field CTO, I get paid to come to these things rather than paying to go to them, and it's really cool. But also, in my role as field CTO, I get to have conversations with a lot of senior engineering leaders. And there's some themes that are really emerging as I'm having those conversations. And we've heard some of these themes already this morning. But they all kind of come down to the fact that things changed a lot right around 2022 as far as interest rates in at least the U.S. economy. And when that happened, suddenly, as the cost of money went up, the old solutions that we were very familiar with if we had been doing engineering leadership in the 2010s, the solutions that we were used to taking, such as let's hire more people, got a lot harder for us to implement. And we started to have to think about some other ways to approach leadership, just like Will was talking about this morning. And we found, and again, just like the last talk, I was looking through the talks last night, I was like, my gosh, I could have been like the opener for this and kind of laid it all out. But we're seeing, and I'm seeing in these conversations with leaders, that these skills are becoming a lot more important than maybe they were before. You already heard about some of these, like I said, but we're seeing that just like in the last talk, suddenly understanding marketing and finance is important in a way that maybe you never did before. Like Will said, you were trying to insulate your team from all that noise, not trying to incorporate it into how you were running your organization. So in the next few minutes, I don't have time to talk about all 6, as the organizers very correctly pointed out when I proposed doing that. So for the next few minutes, I want to talk about two of these, operational efficiency and strategic prioritization. And I picked these two because they seem really emblematic of what's changed recently. Like I said, a lot of us will raise your hand if you used to solve problems of prioritization and efficiency by hiring more people. Admit it, come on. All right, liars. So, yeah, but I really do think that a lot of us, we didn't think about how to necessarily measure the outcomes of the work that we were doing, or the work that our teams were doing. We just sort of assumed that if product said it was the thing to work on, then we worked on it, and if we didn't have enough engineers to work on it, we hired more. And we didn't always make. Of course, we were making hard choices, but we weren't making anywhere near the hard choices that we're making today. So on the topic of operational efficiency, like I said, I've just got a couple minutes. Read the book, talks a lot more about these things. But on top of operational efficiency, these are kind of the things that I think that leaders need to be doing now, and it's especially hard to do right now, perhaps, because you've got a lot of pressure from outside of engineering to prove your value and to, demonstrate that you're operating efficiently. So a few things here. Number one, nail the fundamentals. Small changes, regular automated deploys. If you don't have that, go fix it right now, because it's going to make achieving any other efficiencies really difficult. Number two, measure to improve. So I was talking to somebody yesterday at Lead Dev about how they had a spreadsheet of 50 metrics that they had to fill out every week for their director to say whether things were okay or not. I really recommend focusing on just a handful of metrics, sort of as a thermometer for your teams. And then when you see that one of your teams has a fever, go dig in and figure out, and then maybe create some more metrics. But just starting with getting DORA metrics in place so that you can start to measure the continuous improvement that needs to be happening. I don't know if anyone remembers I think it was December 2022, maybe January 2023, when Southwest just sort of stopped working. And it was right around the holidays. And there's a really excellent Reddit thread about that, about how Southwest got in that position because they were running extremely hot. They did not have reserve capacity, and that plus the way that their routing system worked, which was not hub and spoke like every other airline in the world, they suddenly they ran out of capacity and it took them days to fix it. So building in slack time and forcing work in progress limits that are actually smaller than the team size. And we don't run queue workers like computer queue workers at 99%. Don't do it to devs either. We have good reasons for not doing it with computers. Don't do it. Same reasons apply to devs. And then finally, make sure that you're finishing what you're starting. And small changes make this easier, but abandoned work is wasted work. And interruptions are especially likely to lead to abandoned work or wasted work. So think about finishing what you start, starting things that you know you can finish as well. So on the strategic prioritization front, this is, I have another slide coming up that's going to shake my fist at all of you, but there's only one number one. How many of you have worked in an organization where their product has their 5 priorities for the quarter and engineering has their 5 priorities for the quarter, but also so does security? Seen that. Number 2, practice being honest by being kind. It's not kind to say yes to things that you can't actually do. Basically, it's not nice to lie, and it's not nice to your team to burden them with too many things. It's not nice to your stakeholders to tell them that something can happen that really can't. So practice the classic words of improv, saying yes and. So for example, I did this at Indeed. I was working on a platform team, product team wanted us to do something, and I said, yes, I can do that if you can give me an engineer to help. And suddenly they didn't want it done anymore. But it was the honest answer. It was like, I can't do this. I have other commitments that I've made to other people. I would have to make trade-offs that I'm not willing to make and I don't think anyone wants me to make in order to do this. So just saying that out loud, that I can do this if I don't do this. There will be consequences to this decision. And then finally, staying focused. Changing priorities wastes. It increases waste and it kills productivity so much. If somebody's working on a valuable feature and then there's an incident, of course we can't always prevent those or foresee them. There's an incident, but then maybe the CEO is like, hey, can your team get me some numbers about something? And the CEO doesn't know that that's going to take you 2 days, but you do it anyway, and now you've left work sitting for 2 days. So recognizing when these interruptions or when these requests are going to actually be detrimental to your ability to produce value. And I want to say also, the yes and it's a little manipulative maybe, but I don't think of it as a manipulative thing. I think of it as an honest thing. Like it's like, yes, I hear your need, and I agree that it is a need, and here's how I can fulfill it. Not just shutting down with no, but again, practice saying no by saying yes and. So let's see. If you're paying really close attention to those last 2 slides, and it's only 11 in the morning, so you've got hours to go. Good luck. But if you were paying attention, you might have noticed that there's a pretty close and symbiotic relationship between prioritization and efficiency. And they are really deeply entwined. If you are not prioritizing strategically, it's going to be really hard for you to achieve operational efficiency because of the interruptions that are going to be created by poor prioritization. So these two really are a pretty tight feedback loop. And that brings me to the last thing that I want to say here, which is to point a finger at you, y'all. I'm from North Carolina. Don't be part of the problem. And this is something that I see a lot, and I'm still trying to figure out how to be honest with engineering leaders about this, so I figured I would start in front of 200 people. But yeah, one thing that I see over and over is engineering leaders who are trying to, or leaders, period, who are like, and Will talked about this too, that team's lazy, that developer isn't working hard enough, that team didn't meet their commitments last quarter. Examine your role in that, because you may have a role in that if you are not providing the air cover that your teams need in order to maintain slack time, in order to push away interruptions, in order to preserve focus. So think about the things that you are doing that may be, you have good reasons, I love you all, but there are things that you are doing and decisions that you are making that may be actually making it harder for your teams to be productive. So let's see. Last thing, like I said, you got books on the table. You've already heard lots of calls to action this week, or today in the last 2 hours about like, go talk to other people. And I can't emphasize that enough. Like, go talk to sales, go talk to marketing, go talk to finance, understand what their concerns are. You'd be surprised how often like you can actually connect over them if you're willing to kind of speak that language. Number two, I'm of course gonna make a plug for the book, but I'm also gonna make a plug for Principles of Product Development Flow. It is a fantastic book that is gonna really just open your eyes to like there's science to this whole thing of operational efficiency and prioritization. Really great book. And then finally, today or on Monday, review, are your teams working on the real priorities right now? And if not, what's stopping them, and what agency do you have to make it easier for them to work on their real priorities? So again, I'm Rebecca Murphey. If you'd like, you can book a call with me or just find me over at the booth later in the day. And thank you so much.